Howdy, my name is Derek Dooley, and I'm going to be teaching you how to play Standing Stone's Solitaire version today. To get started, you're going to need the deck of offering cards from the game. You're going to need 2 meeples. You're going to need the main sheet, like you would for the 2 to 4 player game. And you're also going to need this special Solitaire sheet. This is going to be the AI that's driving the game against you. And so, for the sake of this game, I'm going to be using this deck of dominoes so that we don't have dominoes banging together and, blowing out your eardrums on this demo. And hopefully this would be really easy for you to read as well. So, for the Solitaire game, you're actually going to set it up like you would for a 2-player game, which you probably guessed with the second sheet over here. We're going to start off by shuffling up the offering cards. And you just deal out 2 of these, one for you and one for her. Easy peasy. We've got our meeple set. Now I'm going to deal out the dominoes. And now the way the game works is you're playing 7 turns across 3 rounds. So what we're going to do is shuffle up and deal 7 dominoes to each player. To make this easier, I'm just going to deal out the 7 for me. And now I'm going to deal out the 7 for the princess, and for hers, I'm going to stack them a little bit low like this so they're easier for me to flip out and manage. 4, 5, 6, and 7. And that'll also give me a little bit of room to show you what we're doing next. So that's it. The sheet's ready to go. There's no other setup, nothing else you have to do for this. We just are going to get started. So every turn, what's going to happen is 2 more cards are going to flip out for the offering, and those are what you're bidding for. If you remember, Standing Stones is a blind bidding game, and these are what you're trying to get. These help you manipulate your domino, do extra things in the round, or in this case, they just give you extra resources. And honestly, a fish or a cattle, that's huge. So, let's take a look at our hand. Perfect. That's going to be a fun spread. What's going to happen is each turn, in the normal game, you're bidding for the lowest number so that you can gain priority and your choice of cards. In the solo game, you're actually trying to get closest to that turn's number. One of the reasons why they're listed here. So this first turn is turn 0. You are trying to get as closer to 0 than your opponent in order to gain priority. So in this case, we don't know what she's bidding, so we don't know how close we need to be. But keep in mind the second number on your domino. So when you are bidding, your top number is going to be trying to gain priority. It's going to be trying to get as close to this number as you can for the turn. The second number is the action that you're taking. And that's where you have to be really careful because, like in this case, you saw that I've got a 0-6. 6 requires me to trade goods in order to gain prestige. Great late game. Absolutely terrible for the first turn. A 1 is good, a 1 is excellent. Ooh, yeah. So 1-4, I can either gain wood or I don't have wood to discard for deer, so it's only going to be gaining wood. And the 1-1 is just, it's always good because you need crops in order to gain cattle. You need cattle in order to gain prestige or in order to build standing stones. And we'll get to that in just a second. So I'm going to take my hand. I'm going to bid a 1 and a 1. Now we're going to take the princess's domino, flip it. Oh, you can't do anything about that. The princess, you're going to compare both halves of her domino to the the turn number. So she has a 0. If she had, say, like I did, a 1 and a 4, you'd be looking at either one of those to be closer. That way you don't have to worry about which side it's on, how did you flip the domino. It's always, if either of these 2 numbers are closer than you, she gets priority. And in this case, she does. She beat me out with that 0 on turn 0. The princess is always going to take the lowest numbered card in the offering. We set out the deck so that the lower numbers are always more beneficial for her. The higher numbers are always beneficial for us because they give us the ability to start manipulating what's going on. So she's going to take this. She is always going to take, if she has an option, like in this case, cattle or fish, she's going to take the higher item. So in this case, she is going to take a cattle. every time she has a chance to gain resources, she is just going to flat out gain them. So in this, let's go ahead and mark in a cattle. On these sheets with the beautiful art that Nobi did for us, I like to outline the icon when I gain it and then fill it in when I use it. So later on in the game, at the end of the round, at the end of the game, we will do a conversion at the end where we cash out all the lower resources to determine how much total prestige we have. And in that case is the reason why, even though she doesn't spend resources throughout the game, she will be totaling at the end, and I find it a lot easier to just fill that in to count it spent at the end. Anyway, I'm talking too much. Let's go ahead and spin my action. I've got a 1. I actually get to use both sides of my domino, which ironically doesn't matter very much. I don't have the wood to spend on shelters, shelters are fantastic. They're worth victory points. Instead, it looks like I just get 2 crops. So let's go ahead and fill that in. As I said, I like to do an outline so I can still see what it is, but I also know that it's not spent yet. Excellent. Now we discard my domino. Hers is going to stay there because it shows me our progress through the turn. Now we move on to the next one. Oh, no, my mistake. Totally missed that option. What you're going to do after you take your turn, well, I guess during your turn, see this right number, this 0 over here? It means that her meeple is going to go to the 0 spot on my sheet after my turn. Before my turn, this 3 here means that I can, if I wanted to, send my emissary to the number 3 and gain a fish. Unfortunately, that's going to cost me a resource, and I have the resources. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to pay a crop, and I'm going to gain a fish. Now, the problem with paying a crop is that I have to pay it to the person that I'm giving it, or that I'm using. In the multiplayer game, this obviously works a little bit different, but in this one, it's just very straightforward. If you go over there, you've got to pay some good, and she gains it. And then at the end of the turn, the very last thing that happens before the next offering and bidding and all of that is her worker is going to come to this right spot, 0. I don't have a 0, so what she's going to do is come to my stone carver spot, cover that up. It's going to be blocked next turn, and because she came here, she gets a prestige. Hope that makes sense. Now, her meeple is going to stay here, as I said, and block this space next turn. Not that I have the resources at the moment to do it. My meeple is going to come back. We're going to deal out 2 more cards for the offering. And now we're going to start the next turn. Now we're going for turn 1. I could use a 5, but I don't have the wood. The 4 is actually going to be... The 4 is going to be my best bet. So I'm going to bid a 1 and a 4. And let's see what the princess does. Son of a gun. The princess has a 1 and a 3. As I said, you're looking for which one is closer out of both of her numbers. That puts us at a tie. So then you look at the second number, which one is closer. Her second number obviously is closer to 1 than 4. So yet again, she gains priority. She's going to take the lowest card, which is going to earn her an art. And that is a bummer because that's just even more victory points that she is gobbling up right now. But that leaves me with a deer. That's not terrible. I'm going to gain my deer. There we go. And now we take the actions. I'm going to do action number 4, which is gain a wood, because I don't have any wood to gain deer with. There we go. I've got my wood. I am not going to pay her because she's already kicking me in the pants, because I don't really want to pay a crop to go fishing again. If it was a 2, if it was cattle, that would be really beneficial for me right now, because then I could start building stones. On your turn, you can either take your meeple and place it on your opponent's turn sheet. In this case, it would be the space 3, which I don't really want fish. Or, if she wasn't blocking it, I could place it on the stone carver space and build the lowest stone in one of these 4 sections. Let me get my domino out of the way. So we've got piracy, worker, carve lowest, trade. You've got these sets of standing stones that you're trying to build throughout the game. They give you resources when you build them, and they give you big chunks of prestige. Whereas everything over here is multiple steps, multiple conversions to get 1 prestige. If you just have 1 fish, 1 cattle, you can trade them both in, come to the standing stone, the stone carver space, and build the lowest one in one of these 4 quadrants. Now you might be asking, why wouldn't you just build all of them every game? And it's because this top domino, this top stone, the one that's got the line through it and the hole at the top, you can only build 1 of those. So you have to be very careful in which path you choose, because these perks are so giant, they're so big, that you're only going to get the one. For example, this one allows you to go pirating for free. You don't have to discard wood. You don't have to discard a boat. You don't have to discard cattle or fish to go trading. You can just go sail the seas for free. Or trade is over here with the prestige, the number 6. Instead of discarding 2 fish or 2 boats or 2 deer, which are all multi-level trading to get to, you just discard 1. So these are big, 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 big perks. So you can only build 1 of them at per game. And that's why you would generally want fish and cattle. I always try and, in the offering, get as many fish and cattle as I can, because that's the easiest way to just, oh, on my turn, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to build 1 of these, grab the prestige, grab the crops, and go. Anywho, I'm talking too much. My turn, we're doing the 4. I did it. I don't want her 3. She's going to come over here and sit on number 1. And like normal, like the multiplayer game, she's going to sit on the lowest part. She's going to block the lower part of the number 1 action. And unfortunately, that means she's gaining a shelter. Now the shelters I'm going to go ahead and fill in, because they are not spent. They are straight up worth victory points, because they cost 3 wood in order to build. So that's the pattern. Every turn, we get more cards to bid on. We look through our hand, we bid. Princess just goes wherever she wants, and she takes whatever she's got. She doesn't have to pay for it, and it's brutal. It's a kick in the pants every time, and this is what I'm talking about right here. I need a 2. It's round 2. This is perfect. I need to get cattle. Because I've got fish, I can already start moving. This is going to be perfect. Let's see how this goes. Alright, that's fair. I got a double 2. I beat her. Holy cow, I can't believe how close that was. Okay. Rotate my domino. Doesn't matter. Take 1 action. I definitely want to take 1 action of my choice. I'm going to gain a fish. Because you can never have too many fish. It's just the way that I play, the way my brain processes, I can never have too many fish. Princess is going to get this one, which I guess does work for her. It's not going to matter very much. There we go. So she is going to, at the end of the turn, block my number 2. She's going to block piracy, which again doesn't matter at the moment because I'm so far behind. I've got nothing going on. And then over here, I can go to the forest for a crop. I'm not excited about that because I really need that crop in order to get my cattle. So I'm going to take my action this turn. I'm going to do number 2. I'm going to get my cattle. Finally. Feels good. Let me spend my crop. Now, because I'm no longer blocked and because I'm not going to her sheet because I can't afford it, I'm going to come up here to the stone carver space. I'm going to spend, as you can see on the sheet, you have to, and in the rules, you need to spend a cattle and a fish in order to build a standing stone. So there we go. I filled it in. I filled in the cattle, filled in the fish. Oh, did not finish filling in the fish. There we go. Now I'm going to build one of these. And honestly, free piracy sounds pretty good, but trading, this one always gets me because it sounds like a great idea to have half-cost trading. The problem is you need 6s in order to use it. And I have 2 6s. Son of a gun. I could actually kick some pants out of that. No. I'm gonna play it smart. What I like to do with these is fill in up to the name, or the text I mean, so that I can still read what's going on. And now I know, wow, I've got that one. I recommend gaining the resources, the prestige immediately. You could leave the prestige out there. I like to gain it immediately, so all I have to do at the end of the game is look at my art, prestige, and shelters, and I know exactly what my score is. So great, 1 prestige, get my 2 crops. Perfect. Now the princess is going to come to number 2 and block it, which stinks that she's gaining a silver now. Because the silver translates the easiest into prestige at the end of the game, outside of just straight up getting prestige, art, or shelters. Alright, the end of the round. My meeple's going to come back. Her meeple's going to stay in block. We're going to get 2 more cards for the offering. 2 raw goods. Man. Ooh, 2 wood. So we're on number 3 this round. I could do 3 and 5, which is not ideal. I don't really want boats right now. So it looks like I'm just going to go for a reasonable action and not really worry about the number, which, to be fair, it's 2 wood or 2 wood. So this doesn't hurt too much. I wish I had a 2. I'm just going to go with that. We've got the 5 and the 1. Let's see what she has. 4, 5. Of course she does. So that means 1 is 2 away, but that 4 is 1 away. So she's going to get priority again because this princess, man. I don't think I've ever had a game where she outbid me so thoroughly and so frequently. And I have to imagine it's only because you're here. Because you saw, I shuffled the deck at the beginning of the game. I didn't set this up. It's kind of embarrassing. I'm just getting getting my butt kicked by the AI right now. You can't see it, but I can see it. She's already got 3 prestige and the silver sitting there, and I'm dragging my feet. All right, so let's get the turn going. My action is gonna be the 1. That's easy. I'm gonna get that crop. You know, yeah, I'm gonna get that crop because I can always use crops. I would do that shelter, but I don't really need to right now. I've got plenty of time to spend the wood. She's offering up number 5, boating. If I go boating, I'm not gonna be able to buy that shelter, so I'm gonna hold off. She's gonna come to number 4, sit on the bottom, and get herself a deer. And that's it. If you want to watch me finish out the round, you can. Otherwise, this is everything you need to know for the game. She's going to be constantly moving her worker. At the end of the first round, what I prefer doing is leaving the dominoes, because there are enough dominoes left in the set that I can deal out an entire second round of dominoes without shuffling them. Because I find, and the same thing with the offering, I prefer to continue through the offering until I hit the end and then shuffle and start over again, so that we're not constantly repeating really high power stuff. Like all these zeros that are popping up this round, I don't want to see them again. That's going to make it too easy to know what's going on next round. So instead, I'm going to leave them out. It's going to be okay. If you want to stick around and watch out the rest of the round, I'm going to finish it and you can kind of see my thought process. Otherwise, thank you very much for stopping by. So we're on number 4. I can count. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we're on 4. So I need to be as close to 4 as I can. 5 and 3. 3 is actually going to be a very good action for me. 6, I don't have enough for. So yes, we are definitely going to take the 5 and 3. She is going to flip a 5 and a 0. That makes us tied on the 5. My 3 is closer than her 0. Therefore, I get priority. I can build a less... Ooh. I am definitely going to take this one. If I build a stone this turn, I spend 1 less good. I've only got 1 fish. I don't have any cattle, so that's absolutely perfect. She is going to gain an art, which hurts a little bit, but I don't have to pay to use her sheet, so that could be helpful. So either way, I've got really, really good options this round. I can either use her sheet or for free, or I can build my next level stone, which is always, always, always a good choice. Oh, my mistake. I didn't bring my people back. Alright. So, my action is going to be number 3, which, yeah, I'm going to take that fish. So that domino is done. She is going to present 5. Yeah, again, I don't want a boat because I want to save that wood for shelter. And that's okay. So I'm going to spend my worker on the stone carver space. I'm going to build a stone at a lower cost, so I only have to spend this 1 fish. And that is going to net me a whopping 2 prestige and 1 art. Which is another reason why I like this tier, this set, because the gains are pretty helpful. They're pretty big. 2 prestige. And 2 art. Where's my art? Perfect. Alright, she is going to come to... I snuck in. I forgot to pay attention to that. She's coming to the stone carver space. It does not bump me out, but it will block next round. So it's perfect that I did it right now. Because even if I use up these crops and I got cattle next turn, I wouldn't be able to build. Outstanding. So that was an easy round. I like it, I like it, I like it. Or turn. Sorry I keep mixing that up on you guys. I try to be very, very careful about that so it's clear what we're talking about. Clearly, I'm going to go this route. Oh, no. No. This is a bummer. So, the 0, you're not very often going to have the opportunity to use a 0 for your action, but a 0 is a wild action. You can use whichever one of these actions you want, which is why I'm doing it right now. Because next turn, I'm stuck either boating or doing trade, and I don't have the wood to support that, nor do I have the deer or the prestige, the fish. So, I'm going to do the 6 and 0 and hope for the best. Oh, 1 and 6. She stinking beat me out again. She's going to get a crop and a fish. A crop and a fish. And just a reminder, she beat me out because we both tied on the 6, and her 1 is closer to 5 than my 0 is. So, there we go. She takes the lowest card, got the crop and the fish. I get to bump my value, which would have been great if I had paid attention, because then I could have lowered my 5 to a 4 and not had to spend my 0 already. I'm going to go ahead and take a wood so that next turn I can afford to go boating. She's going to come to my 1 and gain a shelter, which hurts a lot. Because I'm not going to go to her trading space, because I can't even trade on my sheet. All right, and that's the round. Correction, that was just the turn. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm having a really hard time with that today. We flip out the next two. Yeah, definitely going to do that. Boy, she stomped me. 6 and 6 are definitely closer than 6 and 5. She's going to take the lowest, gain those 2 crops that I really would have liked to have. And I get 1 cattle, which is actually a pretty heckin' good backup. I'm sure you guys have heard it said whenever people are demoing the game, they tend to do a lot worse because they're thinking about how did they teach it instead of how do I not get my butt kicked. And I'm going to go with that excuse. That's definitely going to be my excuse right now because I am not doing well. Again, my action is the 5. Sorry, I flipped the card over. It's going to make it a little more confusing. I'm going to do the boating, spin my wood. Awesome. She's going to offer trade. I can't afford it, can't deal with it. So that's it. She is going to come down to my trade space, which stinks because that's another prestige for her. And now we discard all of her dominoes. We deal out 7 more to her, 7 more to me, and the offering is about to run out, but we keep going through that, and that is how you play the game. If you have any questions, come talk to us at rollandwriterevolution@gmail.com, or talk to us on the Kickstarter campaign, Twitter, whatever floats your boat. But I sure hope that helps you out. Have a great day.